3, 2, 1. Hey trainers, I'm Dalton.
And I'm Mike.
And we are Pokemon MD. So, both of us are longtime Pokemon fans. Some of us are a little more long time than others, i.e. me. We wanted to bring this podcast just because we like Pokemon, we like talking about Pokemon, and we love keeping up with Pokemon news. So what else do you think, Mike?
Well, I mean, it's kind of cool to make this podcast. I know there's a lot out there. We just wanted to share our opinion. Like I just said, it's our opinion on it. If you differ with it, that's cool and all. We would like to hear what you have to say about it. Real quick about me, my favorite Pokemon, it's going to be Infernape from the Sinnoh region. Dolphin, you want to tell them yours?
My favorite starter differs from my favorite Pokemon. My favorite starter is Blaziken because I am a Hoenn baby. I started playing in Gen 3. I have played every game to date, but I did start in Hoenn. My first game was Ruby, and I loved it, and I picked Blaziken. But my favorite Pokemon of all would have to be Rapidash because I like horses, and I grew up on a ranch, so horses were typically my favorite animal, and then I just saw Rapidash, and I was like, oh my gosh, a fire horse, yes.
I mean, well, Rapidash is more of a unicorn, you know?
It is, but it's categorized as the fire horse Pokemon.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Well, if we're doing that, I mean, my favorite Pokemon is a starter, and that's going to be Charizard from the Kanto region, because he's just the best. And that's my opinion.
Charizard gets too much love, though.
He does. Gen 1 overall gets too much love.
It does. Yeah, that will most certainly be a different episode. So, do you want to segue into the news you just told me?
Yeah, so, as we all know, Gen 8 is coming. We don't know much about it, though. All we do know is that it is announced for the Switch. It is going to be released in, quote, late 2019, and it is going to introduce Gen 8. CEO of the Pokemon Company did say that the new title coming out in the second half of 2019 will be a completely different game. It is not an entry game, but a game that we want longtime fans of the Pokemon series to look forward to. But, as of yesterday, Pokemon, their Twitter account, and YouTube, is sort of doing this kind of cryptic countdown, in a way. So as we all know, Pokemon Day is next Wednesday, February the 27th. That's going to be the anniversary of the series.
Yay!
But, I know, yesterday, they released a little clip highlighting the Kanto region, and today, a little clip highlighting the Johto region. So as we know, there are 7 generations. If my theory is correct, and a lot of other people's theories are correct, each day will be a specific region of the first 7 generations leading up to a possible Gen 8 reveal on Pokemon Day. Fingers crossed.
And honestly, I'm kind of down with that because Pokemon in the past, like when they're releasing new generations or just new games in general, have been very cryptic. Like, whenever they were releasing Gen 7, they did it very coyly. I don't know if that's a word. I don't think that's a word. But they started by showing us like some art designs, and we were theorizing on that. And then the only thing like we really had to go on was a vehicle that people saw in a little snippet of a trailer before it officially got announced, and the license plate had a rainbow on it, which the rainbow on the license plate is like Hawaii, and so people are like, oh, it's based in Hawaii, so like I'm really excited to start finding all these Easter eggs and just trying to figure out like where is it gonna be. Personally, I would like to see it in Australia. Because I just think like Australia is a good country / continent that could offer a lot of like land to cover and some good beaches for some good water Pokemon. You could even incorporate New Zealand in there if you wanted. Like, I'm ready for Gen 8 because I think it's time.
Well, Gen 7 was released in, 2016, so it's about 3 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely agree. Australia would be an amazing place to take this game. From what I've seen in the Twitter rumors and just rumors on the internet, there's a lot of rumors that it's going to be a UK-based region.
Okay.
Which I'm kind of interested in because, you've got, the British Isle, you've got, all those different islands that incorporate
the
that
UK.
area.
The UK just incorporates like England, Ireland, Scotland. So yeah, that definitely be cool. I'd like to see him incorporate some of the mythology. Like, I have family that's in Ireland right now, and I think that'd be pretty cool to see. Be like, hey, cousins, like Pokemon's basing a region kind of like on y'all.
That would be cool. The rumored title, and it's not official, this isn't a confirmation of the title, just from what I've seen, would be Pokemon King and Queen or Pokemon Crown and Scepter. Like I said, that's just a Twitter rumor. Those can go anywhere. But
yeah, I tend to lean a little bit away from those Twitter rumors, and because like it's so hard to pin down a source, like a credible source, especially this time of year.
Well, I don't know if you did see, but somebody on Twitter predicted the Nintendo Direct pretty accurately, and then, cryptic tweets said Pokemon soon. So,
yeah.
Based on the accuracy of that, you're kind of hopefully you're right, but you can't really buy into that. So, let's go ahead and get away from the Twitter rumors, and let's go ahead and talk about my wants and Dalton's wants from Gen 8. So, Dalton, you want to go ahead and kick it off for us?
Yes. So my wants from Gen 8, I think we all really liked the Pokemon walking beside us that they incorporated in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and then so rudely took away from us in the next games, only to give it back to us for a little bit in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I want them to keep that because it's going to be on the Switch, so you can easily encode that in there, and yeah, it's going to take a little time, but the fans love that. I've watched so many YouTube videos, and there's a lot of people are just like, oh, yeah, I want the walking Pokemon back. Like, I felt more in touch with my Pokemon when it was like walking next to me. The next one that I want is the capture mechanic fixed, because the capture mechanic in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is garbage. Like, that's all I'm gonna say on that. Fix it.
So you're going and saying that do you not like the way that you throw the Pokeball, or do you not like the fact that they took away wild Pokemon battles from us?
Well, a little bit of both, because I liked battling the Pokemon, but also you can try and throw it in a certain direction and it'll completely miss, and even when you try and get it toward to hit the Pokemon, it swats it away, and you're like, dang it. So I know we complain a lot about Pokemon being easier than it was in the past, but that's just a little too much. That doesn't seem okay to me. And then the next thing I have is I want a challenging Elite Four. I don't want a Cynthia again, because she was doing the most. But I also don't want.
You didn't like battling Cynthia?
Oh, I loved Cynthia because she was a challenge, but she was also her team was almost unbeatable at the time. It was frustrating. But I also don't want a Diantha. I don't want to Diantha again because I remember my friends and I got X and Y. We all beat it in like a weekend, but like we got to the champion battle and we had all gotten like the special gift Blaziken, and my friend and I were challenging Diantha at the same time. And we both we're just like Mega Evolve Blaziken, she Mega Evolves Gardevoir. It's gonna be a great like knockdown drag out fight, and then just a one Blaze kick and her Gardevoir goes down. And I'm like, what? This was supposed to be epic. So just like, don't make it impossible like Cynthia. Like, give it a happy medium.
I actually really enjoyed the battle with Cynthia because that battle to me and to this day is still the hardest battle I've had to play in game. It took me forever to find out how to beat her Spiritomb.
Oh yeah, because Spiritomb at the time had no weakness.
Yeah, so it was grueling, but I love that challenge. I feel today I'd be up for that even more. So going with what you're saying there, I overall want a harder game. Something that I can't beat in a weekend.
Yeah.
Something that is going to give me a headache. Something that, just makes me grind for it, work for it. I don't want to just breeze through the game. Something maybe where when I go challenge somebody like a gym leader or something like that, more on gyms in a second, maybe they go and say, well, let me see what level your Pokemon are. And if they're leveled higher than the Pokemon that they would use originally, they say, based on your level, I'm going to use these Pokemon. Make this game harder. If it's going to be on the Switch, and I'm going to pay, estimated $60 for it,
yeah,
I want my money's worth, and I want to struggle.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's... I will say, like, Gen 6 was fun, but it was definitely one of the easier generations.
Yeah.
So, my next thing that I have on my list is kind of like couples what I was saying when I was saying I was like kind of wanting the region to be in Australia. I want a large region, like one that's going to take time to get across, but also a little bit of a heads up, because one thing that I think made Gen 6 a little easy was the space between the first and second gym was so large to where like you had to like where you almost like involuntarily grind all your Pokemon to where they're a higher level than the second gym. But like I feel like a large region would give us a good balance where we could like explore new areas, do good little like side quests, and just see some cool new Pokemon. Like that's all what we're really hoping for, is like some cool dope new Pokemon.
Yeah, so that's gonna actually go into one of my wants. I don't want any previous gen Pokemon in this game. I want the new 150. If this is gonna be the Switch and this, the major console, and it's gonna be the big splash that we all hope, give me 150 new ones. Give me Pokemon I've never seen before. That way, I don't want to go into a forest and it's Caterpie. I don't want to see that. I want to see some brand new Pokemon.
I understand that. I understand that, but like I feel like the reason why they do incorporate the old Pokemon is to keep some of the older players that are there, but also because it's hard to come up with 150 new Pokemon every time. They don't always come up with 150 every time, but creatively, that's hard and almost impossible, because you're gonna run into some repeats. You're gonna like get some ones that not everyone likes or that aren't memorable.
Just like Zubat and Swoobat.
Yeah, like you're gonna run into some repeats. The only region that they did that in the beginning was Gen 5. Like Gen 5 was like kind of their clean start, like their clean break, their clean slate. It wasn't the most popular game. It wasn't. But it definitely was the one where before they introduced Black and White 2, where you had to use Pokemon that were from that region, which that was a good idea, but at the same time, like, coming up with a lot, like, 150 new Pokemon every time is a little challenging.
I understand that it is challenging, and I do get that you're going to have repeats, but to me it's like, it's the big jump. The Switch is the console. The Switch is the console that competes with the PS4 and the Xbox. So if it's going to compete with those two systems, and this is going to be your system, hit a home run on it. And maybe instead of 150 brand new Pokemon, maybe do what Gen 4 did, and give us some new evolutions.
Yes.
I know we had in Gen 4 Electivire, Magnetar, Gliscor. You know, give us something like that with some Pokemon that
desperately need evolutions.
Yes, I looked at Gligar and wasn't like blown away, but with Gliscor I was like, alright, I want him. And then of course the anime made him cool, so
yeah.
You know, maybe do something like that. But yeah, that's how I feel about this like new game and new Pokemon.
Yeah, I get that. Like there are I would like to see some new evolutions to some older Pokemon and show some love to like Pokemon from another region that's not Kanto. Because Kanto gets enough love.
Yeah, okay. I'll agree there. It definitely does.
But my last thing that I have on my list is a good post-game. Because, like, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee had almost no post-game. Like, if you want to count the Master Trainers, but even then, it's not good enough. Like, Gen 7 had, like, and when I'm talking about Gen 7, I'm talking about, like, Ultra Sun and Moon. That had a great post-game. Like, it had me going and catching the Ultra Beasts. It had me going and fighting the original, like, the original villains from past games. Like, I fought the original, like, Archie and Maxie, like, Giovanni, Cyrus, Getsis. Like, that was a good game. That was a good post-game.
I definitely agree with the post-game. That is such an overlooked thing, and I feel like some people do stop as soon as they become champion. And one of the things I loved about Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I actually had Soul Silver, I remember pre-ordering that, loved it, was
I got
to go back to Kanto. I got to go back to Kanto, battle the gyms. I understand it was, a previous region, but that post-game, technically not the post-game, if you think about it, it's just more.
No, you can count that as a post-game. Because technically, like, you beat the Elite Four for Johto, and you're going back to, like, challenge the Kanto region, so, like, you can count that as a post-game. Like, you completed the story for Johto.
That's true. I guess maybe I don't know, some people have said that maybe the post-game starts after you beat Red.
I feel like Red's like in my opinion, Red was the apex of the post-game.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can see that. So now to my one for this game. Bring back gyms. Pokemon, you tried something with Gen 7 and the Island Challenges. It was cool, but I prefer gyms. And if this is going to be on the Switch, and I don't know if you can see me saying the Switch is going to equal bigger, but if we're going to have a bigger game, can I have more gyms, please? Give me 10.
No.
I know that's kind of hard to do, but I would love 10 gyms.
The most you're going to get is 8, and then maybe a post-game where you get to go back to a region and challenge more gems. But, like...
maybe give me a tournament.
Yeah, they could give you a tournament. But they're never... I don't think they're ever going to change their 8 gym system. Because, like, that's worked for 20-plus years.
The only reason why I considered maybe they changed it is in the anime for Battle Frontier, they did, they went from 8 to 6. While those weren't gyms, they still cut it. I'm thinking, well, if you can cut it, you can add more.
Well, that's what they kind of did with the island challenges. Like, they did the regular gems that are 8, the battle symbols. I think you're right. I think there were 6, but I also think there might have been 7. I'm gonna double check that real quick. But then the island challenges. You had 4 island challenges, like grand trials, on top of like several mini like trials within each island. Like there was 1 challenge on the first island and then 1 grand trial, so 2, 6, 9. There were 10 island trials in general. So there's your 10.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you can't give me 10 official gyms, maybe give me a tournament, something like that. Something would be cool just so I can, keep battling. And here's one thing that I don't think that they do. It's definitely an outlandish wish, but as champion, I'd love to have to face, potential challengers for the.
Oh, that'd be awesome. And they kind of did that in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, where like every time you went back to beat the Elite Four, like there'd be a different person that you would have to face. Like, so because you were in Sun and Moon and in Ultra Sun and Moon, you were the first ever Alolan champion. Like, so you're essentially defending your title.
Yeah, I'd love the chance to defend my title against, random trainers, have the game created or something like that. I don't know. That seems like a little much, but I don't think they would. On to my next topic, though. I feel like we can talk about that one all day.
By the way, the Battle Frontier had 7 symbols.
Okay, 7 symbols. So I just started playing Sun and Moon.
Target of the party.
Because I never had the 3DS. The last game I stopped playing was, I think, Black 2, I'm not sure. I had to borrow my sister's for that. I don't like how it holds my hand, and I feel like I'm on a train track where I literally go.
Oh, you were talking about the game. I thought you were talking about like the system. I was like, I've never heard a complaint about the 3DS.
No, I'm definitely talking about the game. I feel like it holds my hand, and I'm like, this isn't my first journey. I'm like, hey, I'm the champion for several other reasons, You don't have to walk me through this. I know how it works. That's another wish for the game. Is it can go to the difficulty. They should ask, is this your first journey? If it is, then you go down the easier game path.
Yeah.
And if you say no, well then, hey, just give me my starter and send me on my way. I can do the rest.
Yeah, we don't need another catching tutorial.
Yeah. And also, if I want to go challenge the third gym instead of the second one, let me go figure out that. Oh, I can't do that. Like,
I feel like that's a good like system, because one thing I forgot to say was keep ride Pokemon, because HMs are dumb. But like you don't unlock certain things until you have beaten like a certain level of the game, essentially.
I get that. But wouldn't it be cool if you went to go challenge the third gym leader, and then they beat you, and then they'd be like, well, how many badges do you have? And then be like, oh, you should go challenge this other gym before you challenge me again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's a little much, but, just don't hold my hand and maybe give it a little more of an open feel. Now I'm going to talk about the capture system. I'm just battling wild Pokemon. That's how everybody really levels up their Pokemon. As far as the capture system from the Pokemon Go app that they incorporated into this, I don't think I would mind it if I, selected that I was going to try to capture the Pokemon, and then it took me to that, and instead of me throwing it with my Joy-Con, maybe make it like, I have to click a button at a certain time, and then that's the accurate throw.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind throwing the Pokeball like that, but definitely reinvent that. But my next one is going to be just blow us away with this game. This is what we've been waiting for. This has been hyped. We haven't seen anything as far as content. Just blow us away with it.
Yeah, this generation's been hyped since like Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu, since the Switch was announced.
Yeah, I remember you and I talking about it when Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee came out. We're like, oh, this is just to hold everybody over. And it was a good attempt. It was a good region to attempt it with. I'm glad they didn't waste Let's Go on the hopeful Gen 4 remake.
Yeah.
But, we're ready for Gen 8 now. It's just, it's time.
It is. It's time. And with that, like, come on, Game Freak, Gen 4, we've been waiting for a while. We've been waiting as long as Gen 3.
That's going to be an amazing remake. And
it is.
I would rather have the Gen 4 remake than a Gen 8 2 or Ultra Gen 8 2 or something like that.
Yeah, let's discuss that for a minute. Like, let's stop with these, like, continuations on the generation. Because, like, Black 2 and White 2 weren't that great. And then Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were okay. But I feel like if you were to just release them, like, as they were for, like, Sun and Moon, they would have done okay.
I think the only one that actually really kind of worked for them was Platinum.
Yes. Platinum and Emerald.
Yes. Yeah, those were the. I think those are the games that said, "Hey, we can do this," and they'll like it.
Yeah, like if you release like 3 at once, that's good. But don't be like, oh, this is a sequel to the other one, or this is. And I know that's essentially kind of what like Platinum and Emerald were, but they were good storylines, and I don't know if I'm seeing that through like the glasses of nostalgia, but they were just better games in my eyes. And like I said, I could totally be seeing those through like rose-colored glasses, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and end this first show on something that is super, it's not going to be in there. It's not going to be in there, but something you want. So go ahead. I'll let you go first. I already know what I'm going to say. But go ahead and think of something outworldish that you hope that's in there that you know is not going to be in there.
Something that I know is not going to be in there?
Yes.
Being able to capture mythical Pokemon without having to go to GameStop.
Ooh, shade. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, mine is, you guys announced it, and you guys announced that it was scrapped. Bring it back. It goes into the give us the evolutions we've never seen before. Give me Gorachu.
No.
Clean it up a bit, but give me Gorachu.
That'd be a good, like, Pika clone, but it's too late in the game to give Pikachu another evolution. They tried with...
thought about Electabuzz.
Yeah, but they tried that with, like, Alolan Raichu, and honestly, I like Alolan Raichu better than regular Raichu.
Wow.
Just because it has the psychic typing, and I feel like that gives it a little bit more.
That is true. And, well, that's it for me on Gen 8. What else do you have?
That's about it for me, too.
Alrighty.
So, until next time,
Alrighty,
I'm Dalton.
And I'm Mike. Thanks, guys.
See ya.